you're not strong, is it possible that you are more likely to get fat, sick, weak and diseased? If you've got a weak body, is it possible that germs, bugs, viruses and diseases are more likely to affect your body? If you have a weak brain, is it possible that you are less likely to make good decisions about your eating and your exercise, your career path, your financial situation, your life? So how important is it to be strong? For me, this is just a ridiculous question. All of my life, my goal has been to get stronger and stronger. How can I get my body and brain stronger? And I've been banging on about it all of my life, but finally, it seems that the world is catching up. The top cardiologists in the world, the endocrinologists, the oncologists, the cancer doctors, the orthopedic surgeons, the people that work with Alzheimer's and dementia, there seems to be now a consensus that you've got to get strong. And it's been really interesting for me because I have a lot of medical professionals in my life, and finally they're actually coming back to me and saying, Rowie, you were right. It's really important to have strong muscles and strong bones, because when you've got a strong body, you can fight germs, bugs, viruses and diseases. You'll have a faster metabolism. Muscles have a whole endocrine system of their own. When a muscle is getting stronger, it sends a message back to the brain to say, we need to be better for next time. That's why we actually get stronger. The endocrine system there is called a myokine, and they've found thousands of them now. They're not sure what they all do yet because they're a new exciting function of the human body. But it's a muscle that's getting stronger sends a message back to the brain to say, you've got to get better for next time. You've got to be fitter, you've got to be stronger, you've got to be wiser, you've got to be more resilient, all the things that we need in life. So why is it that strength training has been such a tiny part, not just insignificant, but for most people, and the latest Western world research I've looked at is 70% of people in the Western world have no interest whatsoever in being strong, doing strength training. And the two have to go together, because how do you get strong if you don't do strength training? But as an exercise professional, surely I have to take responsibility for that, or we do as a profession, because people they don't want to go to the gym because the gym's scary, the equipment's big and horrible, it takes a long time, people are scared of getting too bulky, getting bored because the exercise program's too long. There's a whole heap of challenges with why people don't do strength training. But if you go back to the basics, if you believe it's important to be strong, because strong muscles mean strong bones, because the only way to get strong bones so you don't get osteoporosis, bone thinning disease, is to have strong muscles pulling on bones. So strong muscles and bones means you're sending messages back to the brain to have a strong brain. You'll have a faster metabolism. You'll be able to fight germs, bugs, viruses and diseases, because inside those strong bones, that's where your immune system's built. So I'm just going through that again, because a lot of people say, oh, what do I need to be strong? And some people even say, oh, I want a strong upper body because I do boxing or kayaking or some kind of upper body sport, but I don't need to train my legs, or I'm a runner, so I don't need to train my upper body. My question is always this: why wouldn't you want a full, complete, strong body so that every part of your body works effectively? And the most important two parts of the strong muscles and bones is they are driven by the endocrine system and the central nervous system, the electrical system that drives the entire body, the hormonal system that drives the entire body, which makes you as a human being tough, strong, powerful, fit, healthy, lean and energetic. And that all comes from having strong muscles and bones. But is it possible that we've made that process too complicated? 3 sets of 10, 27 exercises, got to go to the gym. It's a long way to the gym, it's expensive, I don't want to spend the money. There's a whole heap of excuses and reasons why people don't want to get strong, but maybe we haven't shared the message effectively. If you don't do strength training, you are more likely to be weak, fat, frail, diseased, and get Alzheimer's and dementia. Now, they're all the horrible things that the world's just getting worse and worse. And I'll go a step further. The killer diseases in the world, so coronary heart disease, type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis, depression, cancer, Alzheimer's, dementia, are all either completely preventable and curable if you've got a strong body. But I think the most important word there is preventable. You don't have to get any of those horrible diseases if you've got a strong body. The only way to get a strong body is to overload your muscles and bones, which then works your endocrine system, your central nervous system, your immune system, and your digestive system. Everything works together. So how do we get people strong? And the answer is very simple, and the experts are screaming this now. It's so exciting. Overload, stimulus. You have to challenge the muscles and bones, otherwise they won't get stronger. So there's that great expression, put away your tiny mamby-pamby weights. And as I always joke, for most women, the handbag that they lift or the grocery bag that they lift is much heavier than the weights that they're lifting in the gym, if they're doing any weights at all. And I'll go back, 70% of people in the world are not doing any strength training at all, which means 70% of the people in the world are going to be or are at a top high risk of being fat, sick, weak and diseased, frail, and die of some horrible disease early because they're weak. When you're strong, you can fight things better. That just makes sense, doesn't it? So how do I overload my muscles and bones so that I'm strong? And that's just simple. I have to overload them. And which energy system do I use? There's 3 in the body, the phosphate system, the lactate system, and the aerobic system. We obviously live in the aerobic system, so if we're aiming to get strong in the aerobic system, we won't, because it's no overload there. Lactic acid or that burning sensation when you're working in the lactate system, which is anywhere between 10, 15 seconds to 2 minutes. A lot of people hate working there because they feel sick, they get a burning sensation in their muscles, so they don't do strength training because that bit's too hard. But if I work in the phosphate system, which is the 100% effort system, the fight and flight system, so I'm only lifting a small number, and it's not how much, because muscles are blind and they can't count. It's just that if I can lift something for longer than 10 seconds, it's too light. 10 seconds is the phosphate system, the fight and flight system, the 100% effort system. I keep banging on this about all the time because people say to me, I can't do strength training because it takes too long. Well, that's just not true. The phosphate system is 10 seconds. So when I come into the gym, and I'm very privileged I have a home gym, but that didn't fall out of the sky in a pretty pink box. I don't like going to the gym watching people waste their time, hurt their joints, do stupid exercises and pretend that they're getting fit and strong. I want to be in my own environment where I can get as strong as possible, as fit as possible, in the shortest period of time in the safest way possible. So it's a very simple process. If you study your anatomy and physiology, you'll see how simple it is. The big exercises give you big results. Fire up your endocrine system, and your central nervous system requires as many muscles and bones as possible. So big exercises work the big exercises work all the muscles. The little exercises only work little muscles. Big exercises work all the muscles. So when I come in here, it's a really simple process. I lift something off the ground as many times as I can in 10 seconds. And if I can do it for more than 10 seconds, the weight's too light, so I increase the weight next time. I can do a pushing exercise and a pulling exercise, but when you lift something up off the ground, if you've got short time period for training, if you're making excuses that you can't exercise because you haven't got time, when you lift something heavy up off the ground, you're obviously using your arms, you're using your shoulders, you're using your abdominals, you're using your back, you're using your legs, you're using your backside. So the shortest exercise is to lift something really heavy off the ground. But you can do a push movement, you can do a pull movement. And what's really exciting is the other medical professionals now that are saying if you're strong, you'll have a healthier, fitter, stronger body that can fight diseases and less chance of getting fat. They're all saying the same thing. The body's designed to push, it's designed to pull, and it's designed to lift something up off the ground. So technically that's 3 exercises. I think you could do as little as 1. That's a very short period of time to have a body that can do all the things that you need it to do, particularly stay young. And when you're as old as I am, it's a really cool feeling to be strong, to be able to lift heavy things, to be able to jump, to kick, to hike, to bike, to go and do all the things that most old people can't do because they're weak. So if you don't want to be weak, if you don't want to be fat, if you don't want to be diseased, if you don't want to get the horrible things that happen to the human body if it is weak, then you've got to be strong. And the only way to get strong is to overload your muscles and bones, and you can do it in seconds. Seconds a week, not minutes a week, seconds. 10 seconds in the phosphate system, lift something heavy up off the ground, do it as many times as you can in 10 seconds. And if you can keep lifting after 10 seconds, you just get heavier weight. How often do you do it? If you don't give your body time to recover, then you just keep getting weaker. And that's one of the challenges with strength training programs for most people who are actually doing strength training. They wonder why they're not getting stronger because they don't give their body time to recover. You have to overload your muscles and bones, and when you lift something heavy, you put micro tears in the muscle gets weaker. Now it's got to recover from the workout, regenerate from the workout, super compensate from the workout, and then you'll be stronger. The super compensation process depends on how much sleep you get, what kind of nutrition you've got, where your headspace is at. But if you can't lift heavier than last time, then you haven't super compensated. That's the beautiful thing about the human body. You know that you're getting stronger because you're stronger. So how often do you do strength training? Now, I love to lift heavy things because I love the way it makes me feel. But I'm very, very careful. It's usually once every 7 days, once every 10 days. And if I try and lift sooner, I can't lift heavier, it just doesn't work properly. So let your body recover. Don't let somebody tell you you should go to the gym 3 times a week or do 5 times a week, or you need to lift weights so many times. Overload your muscles and bones, let them recover, and then overload them again. And how long does that take? That depends. Nobody can tell you that. It depends on you, your lifestyle, your stress levels, your sleep levels, your nutrition. So it's a very simple process. If you want to be strong, or rephrase, if you want to be healthy, if you want to have a strong immune system, if you want to have a fast metabolism, if you want to have a strong brain, you've got to be strong physically. And to get strong, you've got to overload your muscles and bones. So all you've got to do is lift something heavy off the ground, whether that's a barbell, a dumbbell, a kettlebell, a child, a box of rocks, a log, a wheelbarrow full of sand, a backpack full of wet towels. It doesn't matter, as long as you are overloading your muscles and bones, particularly in the phosphate system, because that's the 100% effort system. And then you can be a strong, healthy, fit human being. And that's why I get so excited, because it's so easy. It's short, it's fast, it's effective, it works, and your body and your brain can be strong for the rest of your life. So you can live your life to the max. Super-duper-doo, how are you? Living my life to the max in my gym. Woo!